We've got Dinesh, Andrew, and myself from the Orion dev team here to give a walkthrough of some of the big changes we've made over the past year. And then following that, we'll do a question and answer portion with Vlad and the dev team answering all your questions that you submitted. So without further ado, let's get started. I'll hand things off to Dinesh to tell us about some new features on Orion for Mac.
Hey everyone, glad to see you all here. As previously, I was only able to interact you on Discord on community channel, and I'm happy to demonstrate what we have done in past year. And let's start with a demonstration of major changes we have done. Let me share my screen. Okay. Okay. First of all, we like to show you the whole complete redesigned window switcher. Like in past year, it was pretty simple and had lots of features missing in it. So you can now manage your web tab groups, switch windows in place like you can do in Safari, and creating new saved window is now super easy. Like just give it new window. Oh, sorry, typo. Okay, and you can just start using it. Okay, you can reorder your windows, and if you just want to save what you are working on currently, just drag it to your saved windows, and yeah, so all of the tabs you are working right now as temporarily is now a saved window, and you can have a bunch of other available options. Like if you prefer to switch between saved windows in place, like you don't want to open new window for every window you select, just keep selected this. But if you prefer to have a separate window for all of your saved tab groups, just uncheck it and you can do that. Okay, so let's move forward to next major feature we implemented this year is programmable buttons. Programmable buttons where you have an ability to do some quick actions like opening, let me show. You can create your own programmable button just by dragging a template button from here, customize toolbar to here, and okay. So now you have all the configurable options. It can be customized completely like how you want this. You can select your own symbol to uniquely represent your programmable button. Anything you want here, you can just pick, name it something, and like if you just want to add some quick menu action here, you don't like to go here and nested menus, so you can just enable PDF JS viewer and say this. You can just click it and it will switch between that. Okay, we can also use it like go to edit, and if you want some quick links, like you want your favorite website here, just keep it here like kagi.com. Save, like you want to access it. Just click it and you have access to it. No need to do any other thing. Like the same thing you can achieve by having an home page button, but there's limitation, like you can have only one home page, but here you can create lots of different private websites. You have direct access to that. Okay, and what other things we can do? Like you can do more fun using programmable buttons. Like you can write your own JavaScript and play with the current open web page. We have some code examples where you can get started and start playing with it, like dark mode. Okay, save it, and okay, so you have it. The JavaScript you add here will be executed with your current tab. You have lots of other options available here for sure. I want to show you a quick step. Okay, so like here we have a summarizer button, and like clicking here, you can have a summarizing for in sidebar. Okay. And we also added a few already created buttons here on GitHub. You can try them and play with them and edit or create your own programmable buttons, like importing programmable button is super easy. Like if you want this dark mode, we have a direct link to an exported file. Copy link, and here import button from URL, paste, and here it is. Okay. If you think you created something special, or you find some good trick, then don't forget to share it with other users, your friends, families, and community. Just you can export what you have done to a file and share those files to the community. Okay. Another way of doing this, like if you want more control on the browser, you can use Apple script here as well. Like for example, I have added an Apple script which will copy all the open tabs from this browser and will show you a text editor with those links. Like just let me run it. Okay, so here you can see all the open tabs. Like you don't need to copy a URL one by one. You can do lots of other things. It was just an example, like what you can do more with programmable buttons. Okay, let's move to next feature, which is native web apps. Okay, so now you don't need to open Orion browser all the time for visiting your web app. Like a lot of time we are using some website and we don't want to open other things. So like this Orion user guide, I'm going to create a separate standalone application. Okay, install this site as an application. We have custom options where we can change like Orion user guide. Okay, that's it. We can customize the app icon, but here we don't want to do that. And just create it, and this is your separate application. Okay, you can open it anytime, like just by clicking on this, you'll have it open. You don't need to open the web browser. And all the basic functionalities your web browser have, your created application will also inherit, like enabled extensions, autofill, download functionality, and all of it. And any created application is normally linked to a profile, like you can select anyone, like the default or your custom profile. So all the cookies and stuff will be shared between your target profile and your application. Okay. Now we can move to custom filters. Like you all know that previously Orion was getting shipped with the pre-compiled filter list, which was not customizable. But now we changed it, and we have a completely different customizable native ad blocking filter rules. Like we ship Orion with some default lists like Easy List, Easy Privacy, Fanboys, Annoyance, like these popular lists, and then you can have your own list here and play with it. Like if you don't like anything, you can just disable and have your own list only enabled. Okay, and click on done, and like I do not like this one now. Okay, that's done. Okay, for testing this, we have this open. Okay, so as a default list, you can see it's blocking only 63% ads. And if we want to have more results, like we enable a list, this is a custom list I have just added, and okay, done. And now you see we have 99% of this, but still 1% is missing. So here, okay, partner ads, yes, which is not getting blocked yet. In that case, we can have our own custom filters, like here I just added this partner ads.js. Okay, done. Now when I will test it again, it's 100%. Okay, this is also getting blocked. Okay, and we can use our custom filters in a way like if you don't like this orange box here, just for example, you can see, okay, it's this is a class. Okay, copy the domain, and like I already added this and commented this. Okay, so the domain, and this is the class which is our target class. We don't want to see on our pages. You can play with it on other websites, like if I okay, so we don't need to see that orange box anymore. So this is how this is easy to write filters and use your list. We have documentation for this, like here. Here we added a few example lists, or we can say popular lists. You can play with those, and whatever you prefer, you can just add it to your content blocker, like just this, add. Okay, here's the new list. Then compile, and now you have 5 active rules to list. Okay, where four are these, the checked one, and fifth one is your custom filters. Okay. So this was all about content blockers, which have whole new power or customizability now. And now we can move to another feature, like we got lots of feedbacks and requests for having PDF.js as default PDF reader, as lots of users are porting from Chrome and Firefox, so they just expecting a more powerful way of working on PDF. So we configured PDF.js in WebKit. So you can see here we have lots of options enabled by default, and for user by default this is like okay, this is the default PDF reader we get with WebKit. You may also familiar with this if you are a Safari user. You don't have much options here. You can do much things here. So we enabled this for you. Okay. And for users which are porting from Safari, can still have their old PDF reader. Just it's one toggle behind, like just go here and disable your PDF reader and you will have your old style PDF viewer. So it's beneficial for both. Okay. We also updated sync, content syncing, like previously we were using some other technique for syncing user data, like saved windows, bookmarks, reading lists, but we got lots of requests that they need end-to-end encryption. So we updated our syncing flow, and now we are using CloudKit's end-to-end encryption, where we are using encrypted fields, like if you pass your data to encrypted fields, it will only be decrypted when you are reading it, like when Orion is open and the data is getting read by Orion, only then it will be decrypted. So there's no way some other party can view your data. So it's now completely protected. Okay. Next, moving to next feature. Okay. We also updated web extension support this year. Like we fixed a lot of web extension API bugs, and we improved compatibility of web extension APIs. Like after introducing manifest version 3, lots of documentation of older APIs got changed. So we updated that compatibility. Now lots of your favorite web extensions getting supported, and you can use them on Orion. Especially, I want to we have now 1Password support officially. Like previously, we had lots of complaints, like user says 1Password is not working, and yeah, that's a popular extension, and lots of our users using this. So we fixed all of the issues, and also a few other web extensions we fixed this year. Just few of them I just want to show, like Bitwarden extension, Deathlane extension, Keeper. There were lots of other issues with Keeper, and so these are the only one we listed in popular extensions, but we are supporting lots of new web extensions like Malwarebytes that was not working, Pitchify extension, Strongbox, and iCloud password extension also included. Like recently, Apple released a new iCloud password extension for Chrome Store, where third-party web browsers can also access iCloud passwords saved for Safari. For example, okay, so here is an example. These usernames are getting from iCloud keychain, and these are Safari passwords. So by using this extension, we can access them directly. However, we have another alternative options on Orion where we still can use those passwords, like let me show you. Okay, password providers, passwords, and here you can still access to your passwords from Safari. So okay, next, okay, we also did some tweaks, like invocation keyword for your custom search engines. For example, if you, for example, we create a search engine, okay, webback machine, and we set a keyword as a webback, save it. We don't need to select it, and we can still like just writing webback, and okay, so I just want to search reddit.com on webback machine. Just okay, so you will have all the available archives here. So it's now super easy. You can add your own custom search engines and have your invocation keywords. So you don't need to select them. You can just keep using your favorite search engine here, and still you can get benefit from your search engines just by using that keyword. Okay. Another issue users were asking, like Orion was asking for touch ID separately. Like previously, it was required that you need to hit enter and then have a separate prompt for using touch ID. So now you can just directly use your touch ID and get everything auto-filled. Okay. Next is formatted JSON responses. Like, okay, normally what you get is this kind of text whenever you open some URL having JSON response. So we just added a little tweak, and you can see your JSON formatted here. So okay, so that's all from my end, and I want to hand over Andrew for next available features, like some other tweaks and things we added to Orion this year. So Andrew might help you getting those demonstrations.
Okay. Hello. Everyone can hear me? Great. So I'm going to talk about a few other small features that were added to the macOS app. Let me just share my screen right now. So we added one small feature is we added a menu item, a new focus window, so you can create a new window that's automatically in focus mode. So you can toggle focus mode as with any window. We changed the default accent color to be this purple that matches the app icon and matches the app theme. So that's what you'll see here in the location bar, and for example, in the settings and in other places. If you don't like that, you can change that in the system settings back to, for example, the original Mac OS Blue. But in this location bar, we added a few small changes. So if I zoom in, there's now a zoom button that will show you the percentage, and you can use that to change. If you're watching a video, we now have picture-in-picture mode. So, for example, you can have this playing while, for example, you're browsing the web or even in another app. In this vertical tab configuration that I have here, we now have a sticky header for the pin tabs. So when I scroll, the pin tabs are still conveniently there. And another vertical tab related change that we added was you can, if you don't like this nested tree style, you can untoggle this in settings under appearance, and you'll get this flat standard look. Also in settings, there are some privacy related changes. You can now have history items and cookies be auto deleted after a certain time interval. So you can select that right here, and history items and or cookies will auto delete. Another feature in settings relates to if you want your downloads to automatically be cleared. So let's say I don't have them auto cleared and I download an image, and then I have to auto clear it myself. Whereas I could set it to clear automatically. So you see there, there's no downloads menu because all the items have been cleared. You can also change how whether downloads are automatically allowed or whether you have to ask. So let's see. So here I have it set to ask, so it will ask me, but if I just want to allow, then it will just save automatically. Okay, so those are a few of the other features that were added to macOS. So I'll next hand it over to Nano to talk about iOS.
Hello again, everybody. Before jumping into iOS, just want to share a little bit about our Orion Plus integration. All right. So many of you probably know what Orion Plus is all about if you're in this community event or if you're watching at home. What you had to do to get Orion Plus earlier was either find a link deep within our site or hit the Get Orion Plus button, which would have led you to that site in the browser. And after signing up, you'd have to announce it in Discord, let folks know what you did to get a new role. But we wanted to make this a little bit easier for everybody to sign up. So we went ahead and integrated it right into our Orion preferences. So to demonstrate this, rather than go through the whole thing, I want to show you what it looks like if you go to the About page in Orion today without signing up for Orion Plus. And if you went into the Preferences window, you'd be seeing something like this, with an option to restore purchase or get Orion Plus. You go here, you can choose your plan, and once you pay and get confirmed through Stripe, it will automatically close this out and show you the following. Go ahead and hide this. And in this instance of Orion, I've already signed up and attached it. So you would see this here. It would show you what you have signed up for. In this case, the yearly plan. You can manage your subscription, as well as get some little Easter eggs within the app. Now, this is useful for getting new folks onboarded to Orion Plus more easily, but the big benefit here, we think, is that now we have the scaffolding in place to start developing premium features that will be exclusive to Orion Plus subscribers. So if you have any thoughts or ideas or suggestions on that, please do leave those at orionfeedback.org. Now, I'm going to go ahead and close this out and start sharing some of our iOS updates this past year. So, starting with adding to home screen. Let me go ahead and open QuickTime. So here I'm in Orion, and in iOS 16.4, they enabled third-party apps to finally add URLs to the home screen. Now, the normal way this happens is it's basically just a URL shortcut that gets added to the home screen. But we were able to go a little bit further. And if I'm, say, on Hacker News, and I wanted to add this to the home screen, this icon right here lets me do that. And we add a little query string to the end, which does the following. Lets us open right into focus mode. So it feels like you're in a third-party app, similar to what we do on the macOS version where we create a separate app. We're trying to give you a similar experience on iOS, but if you do want to start navigating around, just tapping on the location bar brings up all the Chrome so that you can navigate around the web as you please. We've also made a few changes to the address bar. We've added the drop shadow and the favicon separator to give a little more visual similarity to Safari if you're used to that UI. We've added link previews. So highly requested feature. Finally, long press and get a preview of the site in addition to the usual contextual menu. On iPadOS, we added a couple of things, starting with elastic cursor support. So if you're not used to using iPadOS on with a Magic Trackpad, or I guess with any third-party pointing device, you can get that nice focus mode where you get this little circle pointer that snaps to each of the UI elements as you move it around. Makes it a little bit easier to navigate on that screen. We also added the bookmarks bar. We've got bookmarks right here underneath the location bar, same as macOS. Now that we have the screen real estate to do so, take advantage of it. And that can be hidden in settings if you prefer. We also added the tab group switcher in the sidebar. You can switch between tab groups from the sidebar rather than going through the tab navigator the way you do on iOS. We also added the ability to disable JavaScript for specific websites. So if you wanted to do that on Kagi.com, you could just go right into the website settings and disable JavaScript on a per website basis. And that's it for now for iOS and iPadOS. I'm going to go ahead and share the Q&A section, and Vlad can kick it off. I believe we've got a nice set of questions up here.
Sure, thank you, Nano. Do you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I apologize for not being able to share video. I'm on poor connectivity, so I just want to make sure the audio goes through. Thanks everybody for attending and for asking so many questions. We're going to go through all of them. And if you have a question to ask, please use the link posted in the chat to add to the list. So let me start. I don't know if we can remove the questions that have been answered somehow, but otherwise I will just go one by one from the top and hope to answer all of them. Do you guys think it would be a good idea to make Orion open source to help issues and features get solved, implemented quicker? This is the age-old question about open sourcing Orion, and currently I do not believe this would speed up the process at all. I think it would slow it down, and there are two reasons for that. One is that properly reviewing and maintaining an open source of the size of a web browser is just incredibly complex and adds a lot of overhead. And our team is only 3. The entire development team is here on stage. Secondly, Kagi has a lot of open source projects already. I think we have more than 10, probably closer to 20. And we even have some macOS and iOS open source projects like the Kagi search extension for Safari and iOS. In the last 2 years that these projects have been online, we've seen, I think, 0 or close to 0 community contributions to these. And these are much simpler projects, much easier problems. So I'm just not confident that we would have people actually submitting patches to a WebKit browser. I mean, the number of people that can work on a WebKit code base is probably less than 1,000, and most of them work for Apple. It's just not as simple. And so at this time, I don't see a path first for us maintaining an open source project of that magnitude with the resources we have, and second, the contributions to the project. I don't see happening. Like, if anyone wants to contribute to Orion and is capable, please apply for a job here. You'll do that and you'll get paid. It's even better. We are desperately in need of developers. Do you think Orion itself will be a paid browser in the future? Well, Orion is already a paid browser, meaning that 100% of its revenue comes from the users. Now, that does not mean it will be exclusively paid. It will stay freemium, meaning there will be a free version and a paid version. And paid version is already called Orion Plus for people who want to support the project and get the latest bleeding edge WebKit and all the bug fixes and new features development that eventually get passed to the main version. So yeah, we will not become exclusively paid, but rather have a premium model. But what will not change is that Orion will stay 100% funded by users. There will be no third-party deals, no data sales, no ads, no affiliate links, nothing of that sort. What games does Vlad play on his Windows computer? I'm astonished that this is so high up. The only game I play on my Windows computer is Flight Simulator, and that's only because it doesn't exist on macOS. When will we be out of beta? That's a great question. So the criteria we have for getting out of beta is getting most of the bugs out of the way, because you cannot really call yourself stable V1 and have 500 bugs in the bug tracker, right? So the other thing we want to make sure is to improve the extension support. Currently, we estimated at about 75%, maybe 80. It's getting better with each release. I think, getting out of beta would mean getting this up to 95+%. So yeah, in terms of timeline, it's hard to say. Like, every release we kill maybe 100 of bugs, and you guys post another 100. So currently we have stabilized around 2,000 issues open. But yeah, it feels like with every release there are new stuff to be done, new features to be done. So it's really hard to estimate. I think we'll need at least another year to achieve, stability that we would be happy with. How much do you feel that Orion has expanded in terms of extension support this year? Of course, there's a whole 1Password finally working is expected, but beyond that, how far do you think you have improved? I think we went pretty far compared to the situation a year ago. You may not notice that if your favorite extension is not working, but I think overall the number of extensions, especially the most popular ones, which is where we kind of focus most of our efforts, is just judging by the number of popular extensions you have in the browser right now that we populated. I mean, that's most of the most popular extensions out there. It is important to know that when we do extension support, even if we focus on fixing one extension, all the effort that goes into it helps make other extensions more compatible. So whenever you see a line in the release notes that this or that extension is working better, that also means that some other extension that was missing that API or a special case does benefit from that as well. So I encourage you to keep checking your favorite extensions with every release. Many of them get fixed and start working. Do you think that history syncing between iOS and Mac is the only missing big feature? Software is almost perfect beside that. Well, I wish that was the only missing big feature. The way this works, generally by in my experience interacting with community, people have this one feature that if it was fixed, they would totally start using Orion. And the problem is everybody has a different one feature, and we end up with 2,000 open issues. So yes, this is missing. It's on our roadmap, but it's definitely not the only feature that's missing. There are tons of other features that you guys are letting us know every day, and I encourage you to go to orionfeedback.org and click the roadmap link in the sidebar, and this will give you features sorted by the number of uploads, and this is how we think in context of big features. What suggestions, bugs are you going to tackle next? Okay, so let me talk about the process we have for tackling suggestions and bugs. So we look at three vectors there for any suggestion and bug. First is how many users are impacted by it. It can be just a few users or everybody, right? The second vector is how important is it for those who are impacted? And the third vector is how hard is it to do it? So sometimes you have, and the fourth I would say is the number of uploads on the site. And what this process allows us to do is sometimes we would fix something that has one upload, but impacts everybody and is an easy fix, right? And sometimes you have features that have hundreds of uploads, like containers, like the compact tabs, which although very popular and affect a lot of people, are extremely difficult to do. So we kind of postpone them and want to dedicate time for them. So yeah, we would, when we are planning features for the next release, we are looking for these signals. We are looking for signals on Discord. We will often ask community on Discord what you want fixed next. So it pays off to be on Discord and kind of add your vote there. But there's so many features and bugs, so we try to do a good job at balancing the big ones with small ones, and I hope you can see that with every release. What's the soonest that we will see AI features pop into Orion Plus? For example, discuss the web page, semantic search of history, natural language, diversity, browser tasks, all in the browser. Well, the first step for any of these features would be to actually have a feature suggestion on Orion feedback. And I believe that we do not have any of these suggested. So I would encourage you to do this as a first step and kind of think through how you would like this to be integrated, how you would like this to work. Now, having said that, we are, of course, thinking about closer integration. The first thing that will be integrated very soon will be the summarizer. To summarize any page, and it will be natively built into Orion and probably available without any extra cost for people who have Kagi Search set as their default engine, meaning they're a Kagi user. So they're already paying subscription there, and this will be included with that. In the future, the way we think about AI features is we'll want to make as many of them free or included in your Kagi subscription. So if you select Kagi as your search engine, you get all the AI stuff free for most of them. Then the second option will be to add your API keys, let's say for OpenAI, and then you get similar things. Or maybe there will be an extra surcharge for, monthly surcharge for these features. But we will integrate them, and we're thinking about this. A lot of things have been already designed. So I think you can expect to start seeing something as soon as the next major release. Can you talk a little bit about WebKit for those of us who aren't super tech nerds? I still find myself having to open Brave occasionally on some websites won't work correctly in Orion. Even in compatibility mode, is this a trend that's improving? Will there come a day where I can delete Brave? WebKit is the web rendering engine that's primarily maintained by Safari, and it's a native rendering engine for Apple platforms, meaning macOS, iOS, and iPad OS. WebKit actually predates Blink, which is the rendering engine used in Chrome and all the Chrome clones like Brave. And actually, Blink was the fork of WebKit some 15 years ago. So you could say that WebKit is an older and much more. I guess just older. I don't know what I want to say with that. So WebKit has many benefits on Apple platform, and the two most important ones are the speed and efficiency. So WebKit tends to have much better battery usage than any other rendering engine, especially Chrome and its clones are known to be very battery hungry. And this is because Apple has been able to develop a number of improvements in tight platform integration that allows WebKit just to be more efficient and faster. It also has native system integration, so a lot of system services integrate through WebKit. So, and there are a lot of Apple features that only exist through WebKit. For example, live text. You can just copy paste text from any image or video. So that's available natively through WebKit, and Orion gets it automatically by using WebKit. So there are many benefits to using WebKit, and the compatibility issues that you sometimes see, some of them could be Orion. So we always advise to compare the situation with Safari. If both Safari and Orion have a problem with the website, then we suggest posting the bug report on webkit.org. They're usually very fast in dealing with those. If it's only an Orion issue, then you want to post it around feedback.org, and we'll take a look. And yeah, so I would say the situation is pretty good. I almost never have to use any other browser. So it also depends on, for example, the extensions you have loaded and things like that. So sometimes extensions can cause compatibility issues and things like that. So, all right, why is the name Orion? No good reason. I just love the name. Could we have a sneak peek on some new features that are coming to Orion soon? Off the top of my head, I know we will be working on the summarizer that I just mentioned. There are others, but I cannot remember right now. We have so many. We are tracking over 2,000 open issues, so it sometimes get all messed up in my head. But I know that the summarizer and just tighter integration with Kagi Search is something we want to do. We own both the browser and search, and it's not extremely well integrated. We think we can do a much better job at surfacing search results or surfacing information in such a way that you do not need to even visit the search engine, but you get, information auto-completed or right there in the browser. So these are kind of things that I am excited about and want to have really good integration, because many Orion users also use Body Search, and they deserve to have a better experience. What would success for Orion browser look like? Our ambition is not small with Orion browser. We want it to be the fastest, most privacy respecting, and most open browser. By open, I mean open to web standards on macOS. So when we envisioned it 4 years ago, it was the blend of best features from all the browsers like Safari, Chrome, and Firefox, and none of the bad ones. So you can talk about success in many ways, but for me personally, I always imagined that success would be having double-digit market share on macOS, so meaning 10% or more users on macOS are using Orion, and there are no reasons for others not to use Orion. Like there's no feature that they would be missing in Orion compared to other browsers, so that everybody could use it. So we are obviously far away from that. I think the browser is getting more mature and better each day, but the size of our community is still relatively small to that 10% number. 10% number would be about 20 million people, give or take. I think there are 200 million macOS desktops. So yeah, we are far away from the 20 million users number. Is Orion for iOS the same software as Orion for Mac in terms of extension support and features, or is it separate source code? Those are two questions in one. So it is the same source code, but the extension support is different because on iOS we do not have direct access to WebKit. So the way we implement extension support on iOS is on top of WebKit. Whereas on macOS, we can implement it directly and natively because we control WebKit. So this is why the web extension support on macOS is better and will always be better than on iOS, simply due to Apple restrictions on iOS. Maybe in the future, if they open rendering engine selection, then we'd be able to ship our own WebKit and then have a benefit of better extension support. Do you think WebKit still has a future, or will Safari one day switch to Blink? I don't think Safari will ever switch to Blink. WebKit is so much better on macOS, iOS, and iPad OS. Well, there's no there's no Blink or Gecko on iOS and iPad OS, but I guess there will be. But WebKit is so much better integrated, so much faster and more better efficient. I don't think Apple would ever want to switch to Blink. If I use uBlock Origin, would you recommend disabling Orion's built-in ad blocker? Yes, we would. The two would conflict, and you should pick one. We have generally built our ad blocker in a way that you get most of ad blocking with much better performance because it's using native Orion content blocker versus the mechanism that uBlock Origin uses, so it will be faster. However, if you need more advanced features that uBlock Origin offers, you want to use it, feel free to do so. And in that case, it's advised that you disable Orion's ad blocker for better performance. Given Swift becoming more cross-platform day by day, when should I expect to see Orion on Linux and other platforms? Hard to say. We are currently constrained by the size of our team. It's only 3 developers. So the problem with a browser like Orion is there's no browser framework like with Chromium you just clone Chromium and you have the entire browser and you just put your name on it and now you're a browser vendor. With WebKit, there's no such browser app framework. You have to do the entire browser from scratch. Every single menu, every single setting, every single button, everything we are doing from scratch, and that is likely to be the case on any other platform we choose to do next, whether Linux or Windows. So you can imagine a very challenging process. And so the process will start when we expand enough and are able to sustain a new team for the new platform. But I cannot say when. That also depends on the sales of Orion itself. When installing an extension, should I prefer the Firefox or the Chrome? There's no difference internally how we treat them, so it's completely your preference. We advise you to try both. Sometimes the author of the extension likes one browser better than the other, so they would spend more time on that extension. So yeah, Orion is the only browser in the world that allows you to try both versions and pick the one you like better or works better. Generally, there should be no differences internally in terms of how they work. Have you guys thought about marketing Orion? Yes, so we did spend some time about it, thinking about it, but mostly we are busy building the browser. I don't think it would be a particularly good return on investment to spend money advertising browser that is in beta. And because many people have pretty high expectations when a new browser is launched. They would install Orion, maybe try an extension, see it doesn't work, and automatically think of it as crap. So we want to avoid that. Probably start more marketing efforts once the browser is out of beta. Will Siri suggestions ever be added to Orion? I don't think Apple makes that available to third-party apps. If you haven't made this a feature suggestion yet, I advise you do on orionfeedback.org, and we can look into it. But in general, the way we are thinking about it, we will be integrated with Kage Search, and this integration will be much better than Siri suggestions. Siri suggestions are just very plain. Sort of Apple doesn't have a search engine, obviously. So when we are done with this, I expect it to be much superior to Siri suggestions. Do you have any immediate plans to create versions of Orion for any non-Apple platforms? Yeah, I already talked about it in the previous question. So no immediate plans because we just don't have the resources. Once we are in position to hire a new team, we'll start developing for the new platform. Unless there is a group of you guys out there who are experts in Linux or Windows development and want to do this for free at Glory, then you're welcome to apply. How much of your dev time is spent on improving or fixing extension support? Do you feel like it is too much time when most extensions people use are built into Orion using it? My opinion is that these extensions are legacy products from a time when browser did not have these functions integrated, should not be supported, but rather have their features continue to be built into Orion. Well, I somewhat agree to this, and this is why Orion has these features built in. And I personally do not use any extensions, although that's our kind of flagship feature. I use iCloud Sync for passwords. I use the native ad block, but there are people out there who do not have the luxury of doing that. For example, you have your devices span across different operating systems, so you want to sync your passwords, or there are some extensions required to you by work and things like that. So it doesn't matter much what we think. We feel like we should support the extensions, and that does make Orion open, which is our goal. We want it to be better than Safari. And if you want to develop an extension for Safari, you not only have to pay an annual fee, but the number of web extensions APIs are much uh, lower than the ones that Orion supports and things like that. So this is one of the ways that we think Orion is and will be superior to Safari, and okay, let's see if I'm back.
Yep, you're back.
Okay, so when was I cut off? Do I need to repeat anything, or should I just continue with what are your plans for the future?
I think we can, move to the next question.
Okay.
You cut off
Yeah,
kind
sorry
of
about that.
mid answer.
Okay. So plans for the future are fixing bugs, implementing all those cool features, getting the extension support up to nearly 100%, and launching V1. That's our plan for the future. What are your biggest constraints currently? Our biggest constraint currently is just the size of our dev team. It's not like we could not afford more developers. We could, but finding people who can build the WebKit browser has been proven extremely challenging. So we probably interviewed 30, 40 people so far, and it's been just extremely hard to find someone to be able to work on Orion Codebase. If you think you're a developer who can do that, you're looking for a job, please do apply. And we'll be happy to have a conversation. But yes, the entire team is currently on stage, and these are the guys we thank the existence of Orion to. So yeah. When will Orion be stable enough to use as the main browser? Yeah, I think I already covered this, so won't spend any more time there. Is it possible to let Orion directly use Apple's password manager? Orion already uses Apple's password manager, if by that you mean keychain. So the main misconception there is the way keychain works is every app has a bucket in keychain. So Safari has its bucket, Orion has its bucket. You can already use Safari bucket passwords in Orion and vice versa. And this works both on macOS and iOS. So if you're not clear how that works, I suggest you check the documentation or post on our Discord any clarifying questions. What would success look for a new browser like Orion? Yeah, as I said, double-digit market share on macOS would make us pretty happy. What percentage of users does Orion bring over to Kagi? A lot. A lot of people discover Orion first and then eventually come to Kagi. It was as high as 30% at some point. Probably today is between 10 and 15%. My one missing feature is passkey support. Are there any plans to support them? Here we go back to my one missing feature. As I said, unfortunately, it's different for everybody, and this is how we end up with 2,000 missing features. But yes, passkey support is on our roadmap. we should be looking into it soon. It already works through third-party extensions. Like I know that it works through 1Password, probably some other extensions as well. But native support in Orion without using any password manager will be coming soon. How big is the dev team? And competitively, do you have any idea how big the Safari dev team is? Our dev team is 3 people. I think Safari is around 100. Chrome is 500, just to give you a sense of the scale. When do you anticipate Orion will transition out of its beta testing phase? I think, yeah, I already covered it by probably at least a year or more to get to the stage where we feel good about bugs, we feel good about features, we feel good about extension support. I think about a year. Okay, so thank you very much. We went through 30 questions. That was awesome, you guys. If you haven't covered any question, please feel free to add it to our Discord at any time. Thank you so much for being the part of this community. I just want to say that this browser would literally not be possible without you. We had a fair vision of what we want to build 4 years ago when we started building it. But over the time, you guys, the community, have contributed, I would say, half of what the browser looks like and feels like today. All the features, all the cool stuff, all the unique stuff that make Orion really, in my mind, the best browser out there. Obviously, we want to fix all those annoying bugs, and we will eventually. Just looking at our release notes from this year, you will see hundreds and hundreds of things fixed. I think we have more than 2,000, now nearing 3,000 closed issues. So there are many more that have been done that are those left to be done. So I'm optimistic we will eventually reach our goal. And we ask for a little bit of patience. We thank you for your support, everyone who purchased and owned their browser through Orion Plus. We thank especially because this is what allows us to keep funding this initiative. And in my mind, the best browser for Mac and iOS. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to Andrew, Nano, David, and Dinesh for your presentations. Thank you, community, for your questions. It was really great, and we are looking forward to doing this again.